B.
Behind.
Come on.
1%.
He's strong. Damn it. Go get him, Mel. Go get him.
I'm gonna kill him.
Go kill them all.
Let's go.
There we go. All right, y'all ready?
Born ready.
1, 2, 3. 32 days had passed since War 83 had started, and the Spuds were back to square one. We were actually worse than that, and the Colonials had managed to push every single front, not just blowing through our defenses in Godscrofts to Eastwa and Blackwatch, but making breakthroughs in the Drowned Vale, Umbral Wildwood, the Heartlands, and they even took back the Victory Point town of Longstone and Westgate. Although it might have looked bad, the West was still in a very good position since the Colonials were ultimately running out of key resources like sulfur and components, critical raw material used to make artillery shells, satchels, and tanks. You had to give the defenders credit, but really, it was just a matter of time. And honestly, time was just not on their side. The Warden rockets were just about ready. We had spent the past 2 days fueling ours, and it was now finally able to be launched. By fueling a rocket for 2 full days with petrol, we could actually hit any town on the map. This rocket would be our ticket to end the war, but even though we had built it, we couldn't just click a button and launch it. In order to actually call in a rocket strike, a player had to have a radio backpack and then use binoculars to find a target out on the front line. He would then begin transmitting these coordinates and receive a code. After gathering 10 squad members at the rocket site, 3 officers would then have to enter this code to initiate a 15-minute launch sequence. The spotter in the front line would have to stay completely still for these 15 minutes for the launch to succeed, meaning all friendlies nearby would have to do everything in their power to protect them. With multiple fronts attempting to push back into the colonial logistics towns, the Spud rocket team gathered at the site. But it couldn't have been at a worse time. The Collies had done it. They had actually broken through the Crisford Bridge, and an invasion had leveled everything on their path to Prometheans. The town hall was destroyed and actually rebuilt by Collies, and although reinforcements would eventually fight off the Goblins from the nearby concrete bases, they couldn't prevent the enemy from claiming Prometheans, even if it was for only a minute. And the worst part? We couldn't help. And we knew we couldn't help. We had to be at this rocket ready to enter the codes and prep for a launch. The truth of the matter was, a loss today in Godscrofts could actually mean a win tomorrow for the Wardens. We had to do our job, and as painful as it was to see Prometheans destroyed, we couldn't leave this site. Hours later, the Collies would eventually be pushed back to their side of the Crisford Bridge, but the damage was done. And to make matters worse, the rocket spotter was never able to get into a safe position. We never received any codes. After multiple attempts, they called the launch off, and we went back to try and rebuild Godscrofts. But as our launch failed, another one succeeded. In Ashfields, the Wardens pushed towards the victory town of Ashtown and called in coordinates for a rocket strike of their own. 15 minutes later, it landed, replacing the one-screen city with a beautiful red mark. There was no coming back from this strike, and even if the Colonials were able to somehow fight their way back into the city, they would never be able to build it. Instead of 32 victory points needed to win the war now, we only needed 31. The first nuke of War 83 lifted us all as a faction. We were in high spirits and would spend the next day poking and prodding Eastwa for weak points, and I even learned the ways of amphibious partisan raids from a friendly beer connoisseur. Godscrofts had been his home for dozens of wars in the past, and he was happy to teach this new generation of Wardens. But this cheery and carefree atmosphere around the region would soon be turned on its head. We'd assumed that most of the Eastern forces had turned towards Alod's Bight, as Wardens there had begun to break through again, pushing towards Mercy's Whale. But we were wrong. Horribly wrong. Prometheans was on the verge of collapse again, and it was far worse than before. Instead of pushing through the Crisford Bridge, which was all craters and basic defenses, the Collies actually chose to attack the last remaining concrete bunkers on the west side of town. This assault over Exile from Blackwatch took us by complete surprise, and although we did lose a few defenses, the region would come together and fight them off. We had held on, barely. And the next day, I would actually wake up to see we were in the middle of a massive counterattack of our own. The Spud storm cannon had finally served its purpose and shelled Isawa, destroying the town hall and opening up the way for our infantry and tanks to pour across Chris Ford. It had been weeks of building that weapon and holding the line, and we had done it. We had finally done it. Our last line of defense had come up big in its most important moment. Within the next few hours, we would rebuild Isawa, Blackwatch, Anchor Beach, Fleece Road, Alchemio, Lost Arkle, and of course, Fort Spud. It wasn't quite as pretty as it once was, but we were still there. And we now knew that our storm cannon worked very, very well. But it was here, in the middle of rebuilding Fort Spud, where we finally heard the call that we were all waiting for. The Warden Regiment KGG, who had nearly broken through Fortress Tempest weeks ago, had been relentless in their attacks in Allad's Bight over the past 24 hours. They had led the charge in taking Mercy's Well before, but they were determined to never let it fall into colonial hands again. They were ending this once and for all, and as Spud had done all war, we were going to do our part to secure victory for the faction. Our rocket team rushed to the site, and soon every Spud that could make it was there, ready and waiting. The KGG front inched closer to the town, and then finally...
2-1-0, 2-1-0.
2-1-0. Break. 2-1-0-0. You got it, Shigeru, now?
I have the codes. I have entered the code.
You need 3 people, 3 people.
Alright, we need the last.
Here we go.
Codes are launched.
That's
Nice.
Let's go.
We have 12 minutes left. So far, this is
Salty,
the
you don't have a gunner at the moment.
Okay.
I have to repair the
longest
silver hand.
one.
I'm gonna put a timer on. You said
I have,
You can check it out. If you,
you're
It
fine.
at 27, at 27.
I want to go into the Reddit and see, wow, it took a nuke to get spun off of Godscrofts.
I know. I really want them to actually nuke Meridian so he can say that.
Heads
wanna
up, the Godscrofts queue is 10 players deep. I'm gonna spawn a king and bring up some Logi.
It looks like we're fucking in
has a
Godscrofts.
queue on the...
Right, all the tanks are falling back from Chris Ford. There's no one there defending there. I need to go to bed, and we still have like 3 wheelchairs the moment the call is
Okay.
across the bridge. Fully
Can you?
armed.
Okay. Here. Brief Quell on what needs to be done there, and he will take over at the bridge.
all right, guys. Well done,
10,
KGG, Spud.
9,
Hey, let's go, boy.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That
Wow.
was just giving me shit
and a
saying we
half.
never use our storm
0.
cannon.
Happy New Year! Oh, let's go!
Let's go!
There we go.
Oh wait, did it just go?
Yep.
Where did it hit?
Alright. Victory
GG's.
speech.
or at the launch.
Let's go! Nice!
It'll be hitting in about a minute.
There we go.
Mercy's Way in Allo's. It just hit Allo.
Hell yeah.
There we go.
Sacrifice.
All right, everybody. Well done.
Good
Sacrifice
fucking
yourselves
job,
and
boys.
respawn. Execute yourselves and respawn.
We are 1 victory point closer. Now go save Prometheus. Let's go. 27 out of 30. 3 more towns to go. But more importantly, the permanent destruction of Mercy's Whale meant that the seaport would also be unusable. The Colonials would no longer be able to stage here for proper operations and would have to instead fight elsewhere. Allad's Bight was a lost cause for them, and as a result, we were once again the punching bag, but it didn't matter. We were going to win this war. Another day would pass, and another Godscrofts invasion would be held, but this time, we knew how to use our super weapon. Fort Ardoppel and Scodio rained down 300mm hell on the Colonials, and we quickly dealt with the Goblins, pushing them all the way back into their concrete fortress on Tempest Island. This would be the last time that they would ever claim anything in Godscrofts. From here on out, we were the aggressors, and while other fronts pushed to end the war, we took this time to do what little damage we could to Fortress Tempest. Silly partisan raids, suicidal invasions, solo runs, you name it, we were going to have some fun. It was as if a weight had finally been lifted off of all of our shoulders. Victory was palpable. It was in the air. The war was coming to an end, and to top it off, we dealt one last embarrassing blow to the Colonials in Godscrofts. They had tried for another Isawa landing, but we had prepared. Since liberating our home, instead of just tunnel visioning on the front line, we had spent hours rebuilding watchtowers, laying mines and razor wires, setting up defensive machine guns. You name it, the Spuds had done it. And because of this, the Collies were intercepted, and we even captured 2 Spatha tanks, extremely coveted for the Wardens and praised for their range and fantastic firepower. We were invincible, and riding this high, we took them out to go Goblin hunting, and even managed to link up with a Warden general.
Yeah, side, yeah, right. Hard right, 90 degrees.
He's on me, boy. Holy shit.
Hit the tank at the back.
He's in the ass. I'm gonna right.
There were straights.
Kill that motherfucker. Ow!
Fine. Just keep it. Back up.
Prevent him from backing up, yeah.
There's only 2 tanks right now, but there's definitely a third one somewhere.
Go disabled. Oh!
There we go.
Right, whatever, that's alright. Good kill. Yeah, AT on our right.
That's right. We got something on the left, I think.
Friendly tank behind us.
Dude, talk.
Oh, friendly? Oh, okay.
Dude, talk about a PvE tank. This Spatha's one-shot killing all these pillboxes. Are you kidding me? Dude, these one-shot kill all these freaking pillboxes.
Yeah, we'll just grab a quick pair of binds.
Oh, what's up, Dury?
Over at
yeah, watch the lines.
Watch out, there is another mine over here.
Goes. Let's hit this AT one.
Where's the?
Thank you.
Yeah, I see it.
Winkle, direct left.
God, we're crippled.
Oh, tank behind us. Oh, please.
This is a good little vehicle, man. That's a good little vehicle. Hey, watch our right side.
We're almost out of gas too.
Okay, just keep backing up. Keep backing up.
Out of ammo, guys. Can't help you.
$80.
Behind. No,
I got 11 bullets only.
Yo, I'm gonna.
Alright, guys, this is not a good position.
We're either gonna slowly back out, or I'm gonna just dunk it into the water. One of the two.
We're almost out of gas, so we need gas.
We should make it to Anchorage.
There's a fuel
yeah,
truck.
Okay. Help him out.
We're gonna run out.
Okay.
Sorry, man. I tried to repair.
No, it's okay, man. It's all good.
You're 0%. Holy crap.
We couldn't believe what had just happened. 0% health, luck was on our side. And as we told our fellow Spuds about our adventure into Alchemio, the Wardens in Great March launched another nuke. Sataria was now destroyed. 2 more to go. As the war was nearing a close, I took this time to travel around the Warden front lines. First to Red River, where a regiment called Siege had tried to use a rocket in order to destroy Minos, a town that wasn't actually a victory point, but was proving to be incredibly hard to break through. Instead of hitting the town, however, the rocket missed, destroying a colonial bunker base, but leaving the town itself untouched. It was eerie fighting through the fallout, but it gave me an idea. Where did that Spud nuke land? I traveled out to Mercy's Whale. The city was draped in fallout, sporadic gunshots ringing out, the hum of an engine from a passing vehicle. Both factions knew that this wasn't worth fighting over, but that didn't stop the handful of Wardens or Colonials from trying. I found a bicycle laying on the side of the road and toured our destruction, eventually finding ground zero. Day 1 of War 83 felt so long ago. We were charging trenches and throwing mammoths. Never would I have guessed that we would have been able to do this type of damage, but it was satisfying to see after what we had lived through in Godscrofts. We returned to Fort Spud, where it all began, and we gathered for a regimental photo. There was no reason for us to still be standing here on this ground, but we were. We had done it. Not long after, Cannon Smoke would be nuked. One more victory point, and this would finally be over. I deployed to Calakai. I just wanted to be somewhere near the front when the war ended, but the last few regions were queued. I couldn't fight for the last victory point, so as we had done all war, I just did what I could. I'd now been awake for over 24 hours at this point. I wanted to be there when it ended, when this whole thing finally finished, but I couldn't. I logged off for the final time of War 83. After nearly 37 days of bitter fighting and over 4 million deaths, the Wardens were victorious. We might not have taken Tempest, but we did our part, and we could proudly say that at the end of War 83, Fort Spud was still standing. And that's it for this episode and the series of War 83. Thank you so much for joining me and the Royal Spuds on this journey, and we'll see you in the next battle. It was an absolute pleasure making this series, and I hope it was worth the wait. So if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and keep an eye out for future Foxhole War series with the Royal Spuds. Thank you all again for the massive support, and until next time, peace.